We are a nonprofit organization that exists to present hope and finds help for anyone struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. This project began about 10 years ago, really just as an attempt to help a friend and tell her story. It was a literal 2-page story written by Jamie Tworkowski about our friend Renee and her first 5 days in recovery from cocaine addiction and finding help with self-injury through the context of community. When the story was written, there was no guarantee of a happy ending, no way of knowing where this would go, but it was written invitationally. It was written with the hope that people would be moved. Today, we exist on some level as a response to people responding to that story. They said things like, Renee sounds a lot like my dad. Renee sounds a lot like my best friend. This sounds a lot like me. Are hope and help options for me as well? You see, the idea of moving people is rooted in the belief that where we currently are is not the entirety of the story, that the pain that you have felt or maybe still do feel doesn't get to have the final word. I was invited here tonight to talk about mental health and to see how this could fit within our theme of Made in the Future. Unfortunately, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist either, but I am someone that thinks a lot about the future. Honestly, some of those thoughts give me a lot of stress, but I've learned to accept that as okay because it means that I'm still thinking. However, when I was younger, thinking about my future was my absolute favorite pastime. It was responsible for some of my widest smiles. When I was in first grade, I couldn't wait for you to ask me, Chad, what are you going to be when you grow up? And my answer with full conviction, looking you dead in the eye, would be, I'm going to be Australian. And I didn't know what that meant, but I did watch Disney's The Rescuers Down Under on almost a daily basis, making me obviously an expert on the matter. I share this to say that the things that we hope for are also going to change as we learn and as we grow, but what we hope for is often a good indicator of where we currently are. It serves as a good point of reference for the places we can go and the ways that we can grow, but 25 years later, I'm no more Australian than I am a psychologist. Anyway, I say all that because I'd love to talk to you about some things that I do know. I graduated from the University of Virginia with a degree in religious studies. And the things that I learned while getting that degree have radically changed how I view everything. That includes mental health, and that definitely includes the future. In religion today, there's a thought stream called open theism. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but on its surface, it says to live in a world where love is possible, then choices must also be possible. We know that every choice we make has a certain set of consequences, and because those consequences haven't happened, then the future is not a list of what will and will not be. Rather, it's a spectrum of possibilities. It's all about what could be, what might be, depending on how we react in a given situation. If you parse that far enough, we arrive at this conclusion that you matter, that your life matters, your hopes and dreams, they matter, your fear and your pain, that matters too. And what we do with these things in some way determines what our future is going to look like. This might be getting a bit too heady, so let's back up a bit. When I think about the future, 2 words come to mind. First is anticipation. That's a looking forward. That's when what we know about the past influences what we believe to be true about tomorrow. And the second word is audience. And at first glance, that doesn't fit into this conversation, but I've already dropped a Disney reference and delved into theology, so the rules are clearly a little bit bent. I guess where I'm going with this is the idea that to live in a world where the future is not completely set, then it can still be imaginatively formed. And that's going to require other people. That's going to require an audience. You see, having an audience is nothing new. Ancient cultures, their identities were formed by the stories that they told and how they were received. But it wasn't the storyteller that had the power. It was actually the audience. The audience was there to fulfill some really important roles. They were there to agree on a common past. They were there to preserve the story moving forward. They were there not as a passive body, but heavily active. They were there to fact check the storyteller, to correct their perspective, to remind each other some truths that we have lost along the way. And the audience is still with us today. You have an audience. When I talk about having an audience, I'm not talking about the people that we're yet to meet. I'm referring to the people that know where we have been, who are experiencing life with us today, who have dedicated themselves to seeing this next chapter unfold. I didn't get that from Merriam-Webster or from my professors, but I know that to be true due to my experiences. I would not be alive today without an audience, without my friends and family believing in better things for me when my head was clouded with depression, with self-injury, with thoughts of suicide, with substance abuse, and with mental illness. When we think about mental illness, certain words and pictures come to mind. We think of mom, we think of addiction, we think of our classmates, and we think of suicide. We think of our siblings, we think of depression, we think of self-injury, we think of ourselves. But whatever it is we're thinking about, odds are it's cloaked in an air of isolation, and the numbers back this up. For the people sitting in this room, suicide represents the third leading cause of death. We know that untreated depression is the leading cause of suicide, and perhaps most shockingly, we know that 2 out of 3 people who live with depression will never seek help for it. That's 2 out of 3 people living with a treatable condition far more alone than they have to. 2 out of 3 people that believe what shame says, that you are fundamentally flawed, that somehow you've waived your right to personal connection. Every person in this room has been affected by the lie that somehow your life is unimportant. Suicide and silence and stigma and isolation have stolen too many friends, family, and memories from us all. In my opinion, suicide is the fatal result of a restricted perspective, of a perceived lack of an audience. So tonight, I hope you feel seen. I hope you feel heard, and I hope you feel invited. Invitation is another beautiful word when we think about the future. My wife and I were coming up on 19 months of being married, but I remember being engaged and the excitement that came along with that. Every single wedding invitation that went out had an RSVP, which means respond s'il vous plaît, which means respond if you please, which is far more polite than what I was trying to convey. I needed something that said, please get back to me. Please believe me when I say that the vows we're going to recite, the songs we're going to sing, the dances we're going to dance, the food we're going to eat, it's going to be so much more beautiful with you here. Please get back to me. Please clear your calendar. I can't imagine this day without you in it. Please, you being here will make this more real. It was with that sense of urgency that To Write Love in Our Arms launched a campaign called RSVP, Invitation and Response. We rolled that out to music festivals this summer, and it's quite simple. We would just come with the question, what is the one thing you wish you could say? Maybe it's to a friend or a family member. Maybe to a stranger or to yourself. Whatever it is, get it out of your head, put it on paper. We're going to put that on a wall and invite people to later take a card that resonates with them. They said some beautiful things like, I love you, I miss you, I forgive you, I'm sorry. Forgive yourself. What he did to you does not make you any less valuable. You are my sunshine. We will make it through this. I am not afraid of your disease. I will be here for you. Say it out. I'm not going to bail. We can see tomorrow. I'll be there with you. No one can take my future from me. And our wildest dreams and expectations were met as card after card left the wall in someone else's hand as a tangible reminder that they are not alone. You see, the very thing that you needed to say was the very thing that I needed to hear. We're all in this together. We all tick to the same heartbeats. And the challenge and the take-home were there. That if I can connect with someone on paper, anonymously, at a music festival, then perhaps I can also connect with someone back home, face-to-face, consistently and intentionally. And therein lies the biggest choice that we will ever make. As I continue to dream and anticipate, who can I welcome into my story? Who can I welcome into my audience? Who can I trust to correct my perspective when I'm more self-damning than I deserve? When my head rattles with questions like, am I worth it? Are we going to make it out of this? Do you see me? Do you feel the same way I do? Do the choices that I make even matter? And in a future that depends on your participation, I hope you hear this loud and clear. That ever since you came into the world, I've never taken a breath without you in it. For all I know, this planet quit spinning without you here. I need you. We need you. It's okay to not be okay. But don't think for a second that you're in this alone. You can ask for help. You're encouraged to seek an audience. I refuse to imagine a tomorrow without you in it. And together we can anticipate a future that's going to be worth sharing again and again. Thank you.